In temple days, contribution flowed into the Jerusalem temple as a result of the obligation of the people of Israel, the Hebrews, to present tithes of their crops, increase of flocks and herds, not money. I'll focus on that very soon. The Hebrew number 10 is pronounced Eser. The tithe of Israel was termed Maaser. That is where the name tithe comes from the Hebrew word 10, Eser. Tithe is Maaser in Hebrew, and it was one of the many designations for contributions to the temple. If you read Deuteronomy 12:6, there are many contributions that Israel was supposed to bring to the temple, and Maaser, which is the tithe, was one of them. Deuteronomy 12:6 reads, "And there you shall bring your burnt offering, and your sacrifices, and your tithes, and the separation of your hands," which is your contributions, "and your vows, and your donations, and the firstborn of your cattle and of your sheep." Notice here in this verse, it listed tithes among the various types of ceremonial offerings. As you see here, there were multiple types of offerings. You had the burnt offering, you had the sacrifices, you have the heave offerings, which are your donations, you have your vowed offerings, you had your free will offerings, and then the firstborn of the herds and flocks. Tithes are mutually exclusive to these offerings, meaning they are not the same. Tithe is the tenth of. Tenth of what? Not money. Can we prove that? Of course we can. Scriptural tithing was only intended for a society sustained almost wholly by agricultural crops and animal herds. Scriptural tithing was only intended for a society sustained almost wholly by agricultural crops and animal herds. In Leviticus 27:30 we read, "Any tithe of the land, whether it be from the seed of the land or from the fruit of the trees, it is Yahweh's. It is holy to Yahweh." Leviticus 27:32, "Any tithe of cattle or flock, of all that pass under the rod, the tenth shall be holy to Yahweh." Deuteronomy 14:22, "You shall tithe all the seed crop that the field gives forth, year by year, and you shall eat before Yahweh your Elohim in the place he chooses to establish his name therein. The tithes," pay attention, "of your grain, your wine, your oil, and the firstborn of your cattle and of your sheep, so that you may learn to fear Yahweh your Elohim all the days." Nehemiah 10:37, "And the firstborn of our sons and of our animals, as is written in the Torah, and the firstborn of our cattle and our flocks, to bring to the temple of our Elohim, to the priests who minister in the temple of our Elohim." If you paid close attention, you will notice that the tithe that God wanted was not from money. He wanted the tithe from the land, animals, and birds. Now, one may argue that money was not universally available and that barter trade or the barter system must have been used for most transactions. A lot of people say that. A lot of pastors say that. Back then, they did not use money. They did barter trade. That is why animals and crops was required. But now, we have money, so we use money. That is not accurate. And this argument is not biblical. Anybody who makes such an argument hasn't read their Bible. Because many centuries before Israel entered the land of Canaan and began tithing food, money was an essential everyday item. I'll repeat that. Before the Hebrews got into the land of Canaan and began tithing food, not money, food, money was an essential everyday item.